James Cargo Motorcycle Shipping sponsors Under the Visor.
Hello, I'm Lisa, this is Jason. We are riding from Argentina to Alaska. I'm riding a F650 GS, also known as Pearl, and Jason's on a F800 GS.
The only problems we've had were the battery that died on my bike, which at the time I didn't actually know was the problem. And we were 80 miles from the nearest big town. Luckily we were with an Argentinian friend who was also riding a bike, and he towed me for 80 miles back to town, which was quite interesting because I'd never done it before. A little scary moment was when we were actually back on the tarmac and we overtook a truck at 50 miles an hour. Of course I had no choice because I was the towee. I just had to go with it, so that was a bit scary, but apart from that, that was probably the only problem.
Oh, that's really a difficult one. Yeah, so I guess aside from all the amazing interactions we've had with people, all the people we've encountered on the road so far, one of the moments that does particularly stand out for me was probably when I started to relax on the Ripio on the loose gravel. And one day, after weeks and weeks and weeks of being pretty terrified, I just all of a sudden decided to let go and get her out of second gear into third, into fourth, and just go for it. Took that leap of faith and found that, yeah, all of a sudden off-road riding became fantastic fun. It was a bit of I was probably having a bit of a mini epiphany, if I'm honest.
I would say the worst moment so far is when we were snowed in a ski resort called Kaviawi, and we couldn't get down the mountain without the help of one of the locals who had a trailer. And on the way back down the mountain, a goat ran across the road. He made no attempt to avoid it, ran it over, and I had to witness the agony of this goat as it was dying in the middle of the road. So that was probably the worst moment.
Yeah, okay, so as I hinted earlier, I think me careering over all the loose gravel has surfaced a couple of dual frustrations from the pair of us. It was a little bit like the tortoise and the hare scenario. What was punishingly grueling for me was positively a pleasure ride for Jace, me being lost in Jason's dust on more than one occasion. Luckily now, fortunately, things have moved on a little and I'm starting a little bit more to hold my own. Although occasionally he does still tell me to suck it up, which yes, I have to bite my lip sometimes to that. However, the off-road riding, the tarmac riding, it all now has fallen into place. Something's just clicked for me and it is absolutely phenomenal. Best thing about riding as a motorcycling couple?
Be careful here.
Yeah, it is the constant companionship, first and foremost. On and off for the last 14 years we have travelled together, but two-wheeled motorcycling travel is a whole different experience. It's very unique. We get to share all the phenomenal firsts together, all the soul-singing scenery which will obviously wow you to the core. You just take it for granted that you can turn around to one another, go up at something, point stuff out to each other all the time, even forewarn the other person when something perilous is about to happen down the intercom through the helmets. We just take it for granted we can share all of that. We're travelling by the same means, living out this adventure side by side, wanting to see the same things, the same countries. In a nutshell, it's all of that. The worst thing about travelling as a motorcycle couple is the constant companionship. Forgive me, Jace, but we are with each other 24/7, and we're often riding a roller coaster, perhaps just me, of emotions. Riding often through difficult and challenging, unpredictable conditions, circumstances. Yes, we're there for each other to problem solve, but it is really difficult to stay sane with each other all of the time. Would you add anything to that?
Is that how you felt? Really?
Yes. And some.
The best thing about motorcycle adventuring, I would say it's this. It's being able to go where you want, when you want, on your terms. Okay, you can do that in a car, but there's places where you just can't get a car. So, for me, this is the best form of transport, if you want to go and explore the world. And I heard somewhere that, and this was a great analogy, is that when you travel in a car or a bus or a train, it's like watching a movie. But when you travel by a motorcycle, it's like being in the movie. You've got the smells. You've got the wind in your face. You've got the temperature. You're in the environment. You're not just watching it through a window. So for me, that would be the best thing about motorcycle adventuring.
And I guess, as well, I would add, obviously, the spontaneity of it all. You never know. We never know who you're going to meet, what you're going to encounter in a day. Completely dictating from day to day, designing your entire day, your life, just exactly how you want to play it out. It's that flexibility, isn't it? Having total autonomy for the way you want to design your trip and live out your adventure. Things spring to mind. The first is the kamikaze drivers you're inevitably going to encounter through Latin America, especially those ones who think it's a really good idea to overtake you just before the Brava Hill when there's speeding oncoming traffic, leaving only a hair's breadth between the three of you. Second is the numbing cold. For the more nesh amongst us, I have felt the cold on a few occasions. And third thing for me probably is, yes, we have got heavy bikes. When they frequently do go over, they are a bugger to pick up.
And the other thing I would say is security. You just can't leave your bike and just wander off. You've always got to think about where you're going to put your bike. If you want to go off for a walk, you've got to carry all your gear with you. So I would say that for me is a factor. The fact that you just can't wander off. You've got to make sure your bike and all your gear is secure before you go off sightseeing.
James Cargo Motorcycle Shipping sponsors Under the Visor.
Thanks so much to Lisa